Leonardo da Vinci once said that time waits just long enough for those who use it. So the question is, what are you doing with your time? We all have 24 hours in a day. What are you doing with your time? Are you building your dream? Or are you helping someone else build theirs? Are you putting in the work every single day, every single moment of now? Are you planning for your future? They say planning is bringing the future into the present so you can do something about it now. So the question is this: what are you doing with your time? Remember, the time is always now.
And thank you for joining me for the Time Is Always Now podcast. My name is Terence Young. I am your host for the podcast today. This is a podcast that's dedicated to helping people get past their excuses. Helping people stop saying I'm going to do it someday or one day and say I'm going to do it right now. Because you know what? There is no other time but the present moment. If you don't know who I am, my name is Terence Young. I go by TY. I am a mindset coach, a new thought transformational speaker, an author, and a workshop facilitator. I help people change the paradigms in their minds so they can change their lives right now. And that's what it's all about. So thank you for joining me for the podcast. If you want to donate to the podcast, by all means, you can. Just go to my website, which is TerenceYoungNow.com. If you go there, you can donate, and I appreciate it. So thank you in advance for doing that. Also, I have a Facebook group called The Time Is Always Now Facebook group. It is a group of like-minded people who want to change their lives for the better, continue to live their lives to the highest potential, and they know that they can't be waiting on some unforeseen date in the future when things are going to change. We all recognize that if we want to change our lives, we have to change them right now. And so we do something every single day to change our lives right now. We encourage, we motivate, and we inspire, and we challenge each other, and that's what it's all about. So if that sounds like of interest to you, jump on to Facebook, search for the Time Is Always Now Facebook group, and join the group. You're going to love it there. And speaking of that, our theme for the week, and we have a theme every week, this week has been baby steps. So just taking baby steps to move your life forward. And that's really what I'm talking about, what we're talking about all the time. So I'm going to share some ideas with you today on how we can take baby steps and tangibly incorporate that into our lives to change our lives for the better. That's what it's all about. So one of the quotes that I use is, a little progress each day leads to big results. So true. So true. Just a little progress each day. I live in Tampa, and I drive by a building that they're building right now. It's a hospital right out here in the North Tampa area. And I saw when they first started building, like when it was just land and they started to break ground, and there were big cranes showing up and all this stuff. I saw all that. And then over the course of probably the last 6 to 7 months to maybe 9 months or so now, or really probably about a year, I should say now, I've watched them build that building because I drive by it every single day. Every day I'd see it. And they make a little bit of progress. It's like a 6 or 7 story hospital building. I saw each single floor go on. Now it's almost complete. They're not done yet, and it's probably been about a year now, but it's almost there. I think it's going to open in the summer. But I watched them make little bitty results, little bitty efforts every single day. They kept doing something and they kept doing something, a little bit of progress, and now it's this humongous 7-story building. It's amazing to see. That started from nothing. So we have to think about, how does that incorporate into our lives? How do we start from nothing but get to wherever that goal is that we want to be? And it's the same thing. We got to make a little bit of progress each and every day. What holds people back is they think about the finished product and they say, well, where I'm at right now, I can't reach that finished product. Well, you can't think that way. You've got to think about the little steps, each floor along the way. A little bit of progress each day can lead to big results. How do you do that? Have yourself a plan. Have a plan for how you're going to do it. You think when they build those huge 6, 7, whatever, 30-story buildings, you think they don't have a plan before they start? You can just go out there and say, you know what? I think we're going to build a building today. No, it doesn't work that way at all. They got a plan. So have yourself a plan on how you're going to get from here to here. These steps, these floors, are those little bits of progress that are going to get you from here to here. That's what it's all about. Have yourself a plan and then work that plan. So when you build out that plan, it's a roadmap to help you get to where you want to be. A little bit of progress each and every day can lead to huge results. So important. The next one is this: even the smallest actions are steps in the right direction. This is another thing people falter on. They think that I'm not doing enough, so they do nothing at all. But even the smallest of actions. You know, I once told myself that I was going to go vegan. I joked about this the other day. And I was thinking about it, but not really serious. But I remember talking to other people who were vegan or maybe even partially vegan, and they said, they told me, do not go and just go to the grocery store and buy a bunch of vegetables and throw away all your meat. They said, don't do that. No. They said, just make a small change in your diet. They said, take one meal and take meat out of it. That's it. Go on about your day, do all the other stuff, eat meat on lunch and dinner, take meat out of one. Say, take it out of breakfast. The smallest of actions. The smallest of actions are still moving you in the right direction. The trouble is people feel like because they're not moving fast enough, they don't think those actions matter. But they all matter. All of your actions matter. So just know that when you're thinking about that goal you want to reach or whatever it is, the smallest of actions, they all matter. Kind of goes back to that first point. It's still a step. It's still a layer. Even if it's in between the layers, it's still a movement in the right direction to where you want to be. And the most important thing is that you keep moving. I posted this earlier. It doesn't matter how slow you go as long as you keep moving. So those little things matter. I love that quote. It doesn't matter how slow you go. Most people get so concerned about moving too slow that they don't move at all. Isn't there a story about the turtle and the hare? Right? The hare was running. They had this race and they started out and the hare goes flying off and the turtle's just moving, just slow, but he keeps moving, right? And the hare he knows he's gonna win, of course, right? So he's taking off and sleeping and doing all kind of crazy stuff. And what happens? The turtle ends up winning the race. It doesn't matter how slow you go. Just keep moving. All those little steps, all those little actions make a difference for your life, for your goal, for your finances, for your relationships, whatever it may be. They all make a difference, the smallest actions. So don't count those off. Make those small actions and continue to move in the direction of your goals. That's the most important thing. Number 3, the only difference between where you are now and where you want to be are the steps you haven't taken yet. It's that simple. It's the steps you haven't taken yet, right? I have goals in my business, right? To speak not only in religious settings and spiritual communities, but in corporate world as well. So there are goals that I have to do to get there. There are steps, I should say, I have to take to get there. So I'm making those steps. It's the same with anything else. With running, with riding the bike, with doing a diet, there are steps you have to take. The only difference between where you are and where you want to be are the steps in between. here's the important thing and what most people don't know. They don't know what those steps are. How are you ever going to get to your goal if you haven't set it? If you haven't set a goal, how are you going to reach it? If you don't know where you want to be, you can't possibly know the steps to get there. This is why it's so important. It's so important to have that goal. And then I'll give you these three things. Have a plan. First of all, have a plan for how you're going to get to your goal. This is important. That's where the steps come in. So you know what the steps are because you have a plan. That's number one. You have the plan. Now, once you have the plan, you set the goal for each one of those plans. Here's what most people do. They'll have, here I'm at, and here's where I want to be. This is my goal. The problem with that is you need to have small incremental goals in between to keep you motivated to get to your ultimate goal. Yeah. So you need incremental goals. You need short-term goals, mid-term goals, and long-term goals for every aspect of your life, for your career, for your finances, for your relationships, right? For family, fun, whatever the case may be. You need short-term goals, mid-term goals, and long-term goals. That's important. These are the steps you have to take. This is where you're here, but you want to be here. Where are you on the steps to reach this goal? Yeah, so now you set those goals. What is the next thing? And the most important of all is you got to be consistent. You got to be consistent every single day. I was in the barber shop literally today. We were talking about working out and things like that. And they got into the conversation of, but you have to be consistent with it. Not only with working out, if you want the great body and all this stuff, where you got to be, or whatever that is for you, you got to be consistent on working out and also consistent on your diet. We all got into it. I was like, you're so right. I was telling the guys, like, look, it's like 80% working out and 80% diet, 20% working out. You have to be consistent on both your diet and your exercise. It's so important. So to reach your goal, you gotta be consistent. You gotta have a plan. You gotta set long-term, short-term, mid-term, and long-term goals, and you have to stay consistent. That means every single day, every single moment of now, you know, because you got that roadmap, you know where you're going, you know why you're going. That's important. You got to know why. And then you start hitting those goals one at a time. So important. So important. These baby steps, they count. They're so important. If you can take anything from this, just know that taking those baby steps, they matter. A little bit of progress each and every day makes a difference. Just a little bit of progress each and every day. Even the smallest of steps are still moving you in the right direction. Remember, it doesn't matter how slow you go as long as you keep moving. That's so important. And the only difference between where you are and where you want to be is the steps you haven't taken yet. And if you know what those steps are, if you have a plan, if you set the goals, short, mid, and long-term goals, and then you are consistent each and every day, it will change your life. And then you can unequivocally say, I own the now, and I have won. Thank you for joining me for this episode of the Time Is Always Now podcast. I'm so glad you were with me. Remember to share this podcast with your family and friends. I want as many people to be able to get this message as possible. It's so important. My mission, my goal, my drive in life is to encourage, motivate, and inspire others to find their passion. That is so important. Just to be able to find their passion and then raise the consciousness of humanity. That is so important to me, because I know that we can help the world if we all raise our consciousness to a higher level. And we can do that. We can all do that. So thank you for joining me. Remember, I do one-on-one coaching. So if you are interested in getting one-on-one coaching from me, contact me at my website, terenceyoungnow.com, and I'd love to speak with you about doing some one-on-one coaching, about mindset coaching, and how we can get you in the to find your passion and then moving towards that passion aggressively right now. And it's all about changing the paradigm that goes on in the mind. or you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. So I'd love to work with you on that. I have the concert coming up on April 20th. I'm going to remind you of that, which is the music showcase, where I'm going to be showcasing music that I have created in the first quarter of 2021. There'll be some new thought songs. There'll be some Christmas songs that I'm working on for a Christmas project that I'll have to do as well. I'm going to share those with you too. So I'm excited about that. Jump onto my Facebook business page, Terence Young, New Thought Transformational Speaker. You'll see that I have some posts in there on it, some clues about how you can win some giveaways, like my book, like a free watch, like free merchandise, clocks, things like that. So all kinds of free giveaways are going to be during the live broadcast. That's going to be April 20th, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Facebook Live. So I hope to see you there. Invite your friends and family along. It's going to be a great time. With that, I am going to sign off. This is TY. Remember, the time is always now.